Thanks for tuning in to BZB TV. My name is Florence. Today we welcome you to our detailed comparison of two cutting-edge video production units, the BG-QuadFusion-JR and the QuadFusion-4K. If you're looking to upgrade your video production setup, choosing the right equipment is crucial. Today we dive into the capabilities, similarities, and unique advantages of these two models to help you decide which might be the best fit for your needs. From resolution and input options to special features that enhance your productions, we've got you covered. Let's find out how these two products stack up against each other and which one could be the game changer in your creative toolkit. Both of these units, the BG-QuadFusion-JR and the QuadFusion-4K, offer impressive features for video production, but they have distinct characteristics that set them apart. Let's compare the two products based on their similarities and differences, starting with similarities. Both of these units both have 4 HDMI encoders and 1 DisplayPort decoder. Both of these switchers feature built-in effects that unlock creative potential for users, cover convenient control options including an RJ45 remote, backlit buttons, knobs for precise adjustments. We also have software that come with both units that you can download online. Both switchers are designed for lasting portable use. Also, enhanced audio control. You can achieve high quality audio with the 3.5mm stereo line output, input, and dual microphone inputs for immersive audio embedding in both products. They both also feature a user-friendly interface with an intuitive button layout and backlit buttons for improved visibility, especially in low light conditions. The QuadFusion-4K and JR offer multi-view monitoring with HDMI output displaying up to 4 inputs and device menu, simplifying settings management. Also, these units feature a built-in USB video capture device which uses H.264 encoding to ensure seamless recording and streaming. So what we're going to do is go into the software and also show the multi-view mode. That way you can see all the settings and different ways to control the unit, and also some advanced effects that you are able to do with the QuadFusion-4K. So let's go and dive in. All right guys, so here is the setup for this video. For the purpose of this demonstration, we only have our QuadFusion-4K connected. I covered some of the similarities between the QuadFusion-4K and the JR. And so let's find out what separates the 4K version from the JR, and I will be giving you a quick demo regarding some of the buttons and controls here. As you can see, I actually have a few laptops. I'm doing a screen recording to actually show you the control software for the QuadFusion-4K, which the JR also has a control software, so if you wanted the software versus using the actual unit, you have that option for the JR also. First of all, let's go over, for our other screen recording, I have a screen recording of what you're seeing here is the multi-view out from the QuadFusion. So looking at the multi-view mode, you'll notice the two largest scenes is your preview. You'll see preview, and one is your program. Of course, you can switch back and forth from your preview and program. Right below that are the 4 sources. So we actually have 3 cameras connected. Looks like camera 1, camera 3, and input 4. I'm sorry, input 1, input 3, and input 4 are the 3 cameras, whereas input 2 is a video. It's a media player that we have connected to the QuadFusion-4K. To the very left here, you'll notice the status, your audio modes, also the program out resolution. You will see that all here on the bottom left. Right on the bottom center are the different transitions. You'll notice it lights up green. I'm actually pressing on the unit itself now. Also, it will illuminate as you see it turns green. It also illuminates on the QuadFusion-4K. Of course, you have this with the JR, but this is great for low light conditions. So if you're doing a live event, it could be inside a studio or it could be a concert, and typically it's very dim and you can't really see the buttons so well, so that's why we've got these wonderful backlit buttons. That way you can see exactly what you're doing with the production switcher. And so that there is the multi-view mode screen that your operator is looking at. Now, let's also pull up the QuadFusion software. I have it running on this laptop here and also doing a screen recording. Let's go over a few of, well, let's go over these buttons that are here. So let's start from the very left. The very left, of course, this is a way to manually control your master audio, channel 1 and channel 2. At the very top, these are function buttons, so there is a way to actually change your resolution by clicking on this button. Let's actually click on F1. If you notice, when I'm clicking on F1, let me highlight it here. You'll see that the program out resolution is changing, so this is what F1 does. Also, other buttons, F2 is to change the source. This is actually for one of the inputs. So as we mentioned, for the QuadFusion-4K and the Junior, there is a dual HDMI and DisplayPort. So if you have something connected to the DisplayPort as well as the HDMI for, say, it's actually on input number, I believe it is input number 4. Let's actually press it. You will notice, okay, it's input 1. You'll notice input 1 DP. You see that on the multi-view mode here that there's no DisplayPort connected. That's why it's just black. So let's go back to the input HDMI. There you go. So it goes back to our camera that's connected to that input. And a few other function buttons. F3 is for audio configuration. If you need to adjust the mic gain, you would just click on here, volume and so forth. And again, for the most part, these are function buttons. So regarding the function button, you will not see an HDR config or an HDR on the QuadFusion Junior because the Junior only supports up to 1080p. To the very right, the FTB button means fade to black, and when you press the FTB button to transition, this will turn the program outputs to show a black screen with no image. So for example, let's go ahead and do that. There you go. So when you click on the FTB button, you'll see that it's flashing red. It faded it to black. If you click on it one more time, we get our image back. So usually at the end of a show, maybe you need to go into a commercial, fade to black. All right, so let's move to this portion with audio. The audio buttons are, let me unclick these buttons. AFV stands for audio follow video, which means the current video source is tied to its audio source. So when you switch scenes or switch inputs, the audio also switches to the new source. So typically you'll want AFV on unless you have a host, maybe, then you don't want AFV because maybe your host is commenting and narrating all the different scenes that you're showing, and so you'll want to turn AFV off. All right, so there's other buttons here. So these buttons you can also find on the QuadFusion Junior, and it's basically a mix, mute, of course we all know what that is, channel volume, up and down for channel 1 or 2. Let's move over to the right side. We've got the transition types. So for the QuadFusion Junior, there are only a few buttons for transitions, and they're very basic. I believe there's just wipes up and down, left to right. But for the QuadFusion-4K, these transitions have hidden transitions in them. So let's take a look at the software here, and I'll do a quick demonstration. Actually, let's do the X transition here. As you notice, it just says X now, but if I click on it again, you'll see 2 X's. You actually can see that on your multi-viewer too. The icon changes. Now you have 4. Let's go back to the original X. So I am going to press, let's do a transition here. Okay, so you'll notice it looks just like an X, right? That transition, and if I click on it one more time, it's a double X. And let me just slow down the transition. Actually, I'm just using the T-bar now to stop it. You'll see the transition is right there. Looks like 2 X's. Let's click it one more time. I'm just gonna leave it in the middle there. That way we can see it on our multi-viewer. This one is like 4 X's, so this gives you more options. So it's not just one transition. This has got like more than 4 different transitions. Actually, definitely more than 4. This is a diagonal type transition, it looks like. Hold on, I actually pressed the auto. Let's go back to the middle there. So you can see it moves. So this one is like a left to right, back to X. On this, you'll notice you can play with it. This has got like 9 boxes. Let's actually, right there. There are the 9 boxes, and then of course it expands, and then it turns, there's your transition. So at rate 1, which is the fastest, let's do it. Okay, so rate, while we're here, the rate buttons they control the speed of the transition. Rate 1 being the fastest, there it goes, while rate 3 being the slowest transition. So if you were just using the auto button to transition, of course you can do this all manually if you use the T-bar. If you really wanted a slow transition, it's much better if you actually use it on the actual unit here when you're doing the transition. That way you can really control the speed. So you notice I am actually using the T-bar on the QuadFusion unit itself, and you see that on the software it's mimicking what I'm doing. So it correlates, all right? Whatever you're doing on the software, it will also show up on the QuadFusion 4K. Obviously, the T-bar will not follow on the actual unit when I go up and down here, but you pretty much get the drift that it will, once you take control on the actual unit, it will start to correlate. However, for the buttons, it does correlate. So like again, let's go back to the transitions here. You'll see that on the unit itself as well, it's showing up, okay? And you also can verify that from the multi-view mode where the transitions are at. You'll see that I'm moving around, or if I'm clicking on the actual transition, the icon changes, showing you the direction of the transition. So there you go. This is to go top to bottom, bottom to top to bottom. Yeah, top to bottom. Okay. To the very right are these blue function keys. On the QuadFusion Junior, there are only a couple keys that are available in regards to the function keys. There's only, let me verify that right now. There's only picture-in-picture and still for the QuadFusion Junior. However, for the 4K, you've got Luma, Chroma, Pattern, and Picture Out Picture. Let's do a quick demo of how Luma works. If you click on Luma, you'll notice if you're looking at your multi-view mode there, that it's actually taking, so let me turn it back off so you guys can see what happened there. Clicking it off, you see that there's a black screen on the top right for preview, but if I click on it, you'll notice that black screen now is showing what's showing on the program. And what Luma is doing is it removes the color black from the background of your preview image and overlays the remaining image on top of the program output. So typically used to place a watermark, logo, text, or if you've got subtitles on the program output. That way you can preview it here. You also have Chroma. Chroma removes the specified image background. What if the color is blue or green? That's why you're kind of seeing the plant. It's seeing the greenness, so that's why it looks all weird. But it actually is removing that color and overlays the program source over the preview. So that's why it looks all weird like that. But this is a good way to kind of show you why it's doing that. Okay. Also for the QuadFusion 4K, there's also the pattern. You'll also see that there is a pattern button here. So if you click on bar, what this will let you do is allows you to change the bar key test pattern, and you can select from the following options, like all the colors: checkered, red, green, blue, and so forth. And that way you can test the colors for your scenes. And of course we got picture in picture. You'll notice that on our multi-viewer here, you've got the picture in picture. It looks very small. You can see that we have a pop-up here, so we can change the size of the picture in picture to a large, and we can actually move it around from here. So if we want it to go down vertically and we want the picture in picture to be right smack dab in the center, you can do that. So you can move it around here, or you can also use, if you were on the actual unit itself, you can use the directional buttons right here. And by also looking at the status portion, which is the left here, if you click on, if I press menu, down on menu and then click start going up, you see it's moving to the right. And I'm using the unit here versus the software. So it's up to you whether you want to be able to use it on the unit or the software. The software looks a little bit better because you can see the values here. I don't have to look at this area. Well, typically you'll want to, actually, because you want to see where you're placing the picture in picture. So you can do a few different things. You can change the border, the color, fun stuff. Similar with picture on picture. Let me just give you how it looks like there. There it is. We can change the border to red. Cool. And you also have the still button. So basically still, all that's doing is the program video will freeze. Now you can't tell that it's frozen right now. Let me actually change it to 1 second. Let me unclick them and let me put on the multimedia. So let's say you want to freeze a scene that's showing on your program. There it goes. It was the text is all, it just froze. So it basically, when you press still, it will turn your whatever motion is there, it's just going to be a still image. And if you press it a second time, it will resume playback. So still, resume playback. There you go. Oh, clicked on still again, right there. So that's what that does. Again, to the right, you've got the directional buttons and the menu. So when you click on menu here, you'll notice the main menu shows up on the bottom left where your status is if we're looking at the multi-view mode. And of course you can control all that, and you can go and check all your settings here, system settings, language, and so forth. Let's actually get out. So you also have network settings, GPI settings. I believe GPI is for a tally system. If you've got a tally system, let's go look. Yeah, I don't play with that too much, but our Adamo cameras have tally lights, so if you wanted to set that up, you can, and this is where you would check the settings for it. Let's get out of that. Clock settings, so forth. Let's exit. And here's another way of actually accessing your settings from the software. You'll see the settings button to the top right there. Of course, that's not on the actual unit, but when you do use the software, that's why sometimes it's great to have the actual software up and running. That way you can look at this. You'll see a little bit more clear the GPI settings. I think I had done that. Let's put that to mute. Your system settings, fan control. So if your unit's getting a little too hot or you need to change the fan speed, you can do that here. This is your network settings. If you need to set up an IP for your cameras or even for the unit, you can play with that here. And yeah, that's your settings menu. Well, there you have it, folks. That is the QuadFusion 4K. And in summary, the QuadFusion 4K as well as the QuadFusion Junior are very similar products. They're very compact. They've got the same aesthetic build. This is just a little bit bigger with more buttons, but they've got a T-bar, manual way of controlling audio, both made with aluminum alloy, and they're very robust. You can take these units on the go with you if you've got live events or you're live streaming from studio to studio. They're easy to pack. They've got their own case. And again, it's something you can just put into your backpack or your equipment bag. You can take them on the go, and again, just very easy to transport. And if you have any questions for us regarding this video, please leave them below. As we mentioned, this unit, the 4K and the Junior, the main difference is obviously resolution. And of course, you'll be able to do more with the QuadFusion 4K with the special effects, and it just covers a more broad range of applications. However, if your budget is, you need a more cost-effective solution and you're not trying to do anything professionally, maybe you've got a home studio or you've got your own YouTube live streaming channel and you don't need 4K quality, then the QuadFusion Junior is the way to go. If you have any questions for us, please leave them below. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. You can also talk to our support team by visiting BZBGEAR.com. And if you are into broadcast technology as well as Pro AV, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel, BZB TV. We will have many more videos and solutions in the broadcast and Pro AV realm. So you want to be tuning in. All right, that's it for today. We appreciate you all for tuning in, and I will catch you guys on the next episode.